I left my ex-husband's stepkids with their babysitter after he got in a car accident. My ex David and I divorced 7 years ago when our kids were really little. We have 2 kids together, Mia, who's 11, and Lucas, who's 10. David got remarried about 3.5 years ago to this woman named Jennifer, and that's when everything got way worse between us. She has 2 kids from her first marriage, a girl who's 8 now and a boy who's 6. From day one, Jennifer hated that I existed. At school events, she'd literally sit between me and David so I couldn't talk to him. When the kids would run up to hug me first, she'd make these comments about how confusing it must be for them to have 2 moms. But the worst thing happened at Lucas's school concert last year. Jennifer's daughter Kylie was running around the hallway after the show. I saw her trip over her shoelace and start falling toward this metal water fountain. I grabbed her arm to stop her from smashing her face. That's it. I caught a 4-year-old from hurting herself. But Jennifer came around the corner right at that moment and completely lost it. She started screaming that I pinched Kylie. She was yelling so loud that teachers came running. She kept saying I was abusing her daughter and she should call the cops. Thank God there were like 10 other parents standing right there who saw exactly what happened. They all told Jennifer I was helping Kylie, not hurting her. But she wouldn't listen. She kept going on about how she knew I was jealous of her family and that I was trying to hurt her kids. The principal had to get involved. It was humiliating. After that disaster, I decided I wanted nothing to do with Jennifer or her kids ever again. I told David through email that I'd only communicate about our kids and I'd stay far away from his stepkids at any events. Luckily, Mia and Lucas aren't close with their step-siblings anyway. They never asked to invite them over or include them in their birthday parties. So it's been pretty easy to keep my distance. But Jennifer still brings up the pinching thing to anyone who will listen. She tells people at school that I'm dangerous around children. A few weeks ago, it was David's custody week. We split the kids 50-50, so they were at his house. Around 8 p.m., I got a call from their babysitter, Melissa. She sounded panicked. She said David and Jennifer were supposed to be home at 7 but weren't answering their phones. She didn't know what to do and I was listed as one of the emergency contacts. I tried calling David, but it went straight to voicemail. Then his mom called me and told me they'd been in a car accident. She said they were both at the hospital and would be there for a while. I told her Melissa had called me and maybe she should send someone to get Jennifer's kids. Then I drove over to pick up Mia and Lucas. When I got there, all 4 kids were in the living room watching TV. Melissa pulled me aside and basically begged me to take all of them or stay there with her. Mia and Lucas ran up to me wanting to leave. They kept asking if their dad was okay and if they could go home to our house. They didn't want their step-siblings coming with us. I told Melissa that Jennifer's kids weren't my responsibility. I gave her David's mom's number so she could arrange something for them. Then I took my kids and left. We stopped by the hospital the next morning to check on David. He was mostly okay, just some bruises and a broken wrist. But the second he saw me, he started yelling. How could you leave Kylie and Mason with a babysitter? Why didn't you take them home with you? I didn't want to fight in front of Mia and Lucas, so I just said we'd talk later. But apparently nobody in his family or Jennifer's family would take the kids that night. They ended up staying with Melissa until David's sister finally picked them up the next afternoon. David has been calling me every horrible name you can think of since then. Jennifer's injuries were way worse than his. She's still in the hospital with a broken leg and ribs. He texted me saying I should be ashamed for taking my anger at them out on innocent children. But here's the thing. I'm not risking another false accusation from Jennifer. If something had happened to those kids while they were with me, even something small, she'd find a way to blame me and try to ruin my life. I could lose custody of my own kids over her lies. So yeah, I left them with their babysitter where they were safe and called David's family to handle it. Those kids have 2 parents and 2 whole families to take care of them. I'm nothing to them, and Jennifer made sure I knew that years ago.